Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So great to see everyone join. Welcome to our Synergy Open Forum, which is for all of you guys. Bring all your questions, any kind of questions. And either Lucy and I usually answer them. I know some people who are here today are returning attendees. So thank you. Maggie is also here with me from Dublin, and she's going to assist with the questions and the chat. Okay, so I want you all to jump on the chat or the Q&A. Tell me what you've been doing with the program, where you're getting stuck, or things that you wish you could do, and we'll take it from there. It's your forum, so tell me how I can help. I'm going to share my desktop instead of just the program because one of the questions that came up, I think at the last training, which Lucy hosted, was how can we share specific case files, patient files with our teacher or a colleague. So I'm going to start with showing you how you can share specific case files with a colleague or a friend or a teacher. And how you can just download them and then save them and then email them to someone. And those people, assuming they have the Synergy program, will be able to open them as well in their program. So you would go to your patient management and say view patients. I don't have a lot of patients. This is my other machine. And so we'll just use the ones we have. So you would choose the one that you want to share. So let's say we'll share this acute case. And then you would select the ones that you want to share, and you would go to this download button here, and you would click on download. And then you get this choice that says with security or without security. And you have to choose without security. So what that does is it's not encrypted with your whatever level of encryption and your login credentials. So if you did it with security, then I would only be able to open it in another program into which I'm logged in with my patient management login. So when you say without security, you can pretty much, it's accessible by anyone. So I'm going to say without security. And then it will give you a pop-up of your machine, which will say, okay, where do you want to save it? So let's say I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to say new folder, shared cases, create. And then that's already highlighted. So I'm going to say select. And I hope, I didn't see, let's go back and say this. Oh, right. So you have to either double click and to open that folder, or you have to do it again, and then it opens it, and now you're in the folder, and you can see that this is already saved and it's going up to my iCloud. So I'm gonna get out of here and then open this, go to my desktop, go to my shared cases, and here's the file. And so then you can, go to share, and it will then ask how you want to share it. And you can email it or text it or WhatsApp it, whatever works for you. And so then now it's going to be, I should have logged in with both computers. Once the person that you're sending this file to gets it, they will get it via whatever message or email platform you have sent it. They have to download it and save it somewhere. And then you have to reverse the process pretty much. So they will go to their patient management and then they will say upload. And it will open their computer program up, and basically wherever they have downloaded the file to, they can indicate that location, and this will help them then, select this, say upload, and it will bring it into their program, into their patients list, and they will be able to see the work that you have done or want to share. So that's how you do that. Let me know if that was clear or if you want me to go through it again.
Well, there is a question, Roopali, somewhat related. Suzanne is asking, she's saying that she is working from her office and from her home. So it's two different Mac computers, one in the
Right.
office and one at home.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility to save the cases in the iCloud to have access
Yes.
on both locations?
That's what I do. And I don't have any issues. So let me go back and show you. You see, my iCloud Drive is already updating because I just made a change with downloading that acute case. So actually, my documents and my desktop are in my iCloud Drive, and my backup cases are here in my iCloud under desktop. So all my backups are then, as soon as if I'm in any kind of internet or Wi-Fi location, then my iCloud backs up. So as soon as I back up a case, it shows up in this sort of common location. And then all I have to do to restore is just open the other computer, let it sync to iCloud, and then download or restore the latest backup. So if you don't have access to an iCloud or a shared sort of platform where you can, where, both your machines are synced, then you would have to do a physical transfer. So you would, have a thumb drive or a pen drive, store all your backups in that, and then carry that over to the other machine, plug it in, and restore from that. So that would be the manual way to do it. And if you have access to like something like an iCloud or a OneDrive where you save things, backup things, then I would just put it there. And there's no issue. Unlike Mac Repertory, you can easily save all your things in the cloud, your backups at least. And remember, they are encrypted already. So, I mean, nobody can take my backups here, even if they have access to this, all these cases, they are all encrypted with double encryption. So nobody has access to this. They would only have access if they also had access to the Synergy program and my patient management login. That's the only way these files can be opened. So it's fine to save them in the cloud. And also it's your cloud. So, I know we say that it's not as secure, the cloud, but given the fact that your patient backup, now, of course, like we said, if you download without security, that's an accessible file to anyone who has the Synergy software. And that's the whole point of it. But when you back up, that is encrypted at several levels. So they can have the file, but they won't be able to do much with it. So, okay. Any other?
Susan is saying, thank you. This solution with the backup I did already, but can I directly work on an iCloud location with cases to open?
No, because the original cases, these 6 cases are actually stored in my program. And they're the ones you directly work on. The backup is just a backup. You're asking if these cases can be on the cloud, and the only way you could do that in the way that we are currently structured is if you also got access to a browser version of the program, which is at the moment we're only offering a student version, but it does give you access. I mean, you could work on it anywhere. Your cases would be in the cloud for 24 hours, but you would have to, for security purposes, you would have to download the cases. And then when you wanted to, no, I don't think it would work for you, Susan. You can't have the cases in the cloud, the original cases in the cloud. They're stored in the program with that level of encryption. So it would not be possible to have cases that are active all the time at all levels everywhere that you can then work on directly. That's not possible.
So it's the backup and restore.
It's a backup and restore. Yes. Yes, you would have to do that. You would back up all your work before you left the clinic, sync with the cloud, come home, open the other computer, wait for it to sync with the cloud. And then you would have to, it literally takes 5 seconds. I mean, I don't have I have in the other machine, I have about 150 cases. And it literally takes like 5-10 seconds to restore, because it's not, you're going to ask it to restore only the changes. And generally, unless a case is like, I don't know, 10 years long, and you have repertorizations for like every month or every other month, the files are very small. So it really backs up and restores very, very quickly. It's literally like a couple of clicks when you start the program to do that.
Susan says, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Here it is, I'm gone now.
Or if there's things that people would like to learn more or go deeper into, we can work on those. Or if you're running into things with your patients, we can talk about that.
There is a question here from Pakistan.
Mhm.
If we want to see nosodes in the repertory chart, how
Mhm.
can we see that? So in the graph?
So nosodes at the moment, in this version, I think they're still under, so let's put,
No, you can filter for them, Roopali.
no, I was just gonna create a clipboard.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put abrupt. And let's put and let's see. Okay, so when you can filter for nosodes, and they are, did we, with 1.4, we haven't changed it, right, Maggie? They're still under animal parts.
No, you can filter. I just did it a minute ago. Let me see.
Here. So you can filter for nosodes. They
Under
used to be under animal parts, but now they're their
It's
own
pulled
thing.
out.
Yeah.
Kingdom nosodes, yeah.
And so there are your nosodes. So that's pretty much, and then when you're done with the filter, you can click that and you're back at your original repertorization.
So Rupali, that was a change that was implemented in 1.4, wasn't it? So
Yes.
just really show people how they know that they're at 1.4.
Yes, so this was a recent update that we just sent out, I think maybe 10 days ago. You can check what version of the program you are in by going to help, about. You can see mine says 1.4. And that was the date that we sent out the update, I think, or that was the version of the date of the program. So that, and then we released it probably 10 days later. So anyway, a couple weeks ago it was released. If you're not on 1.4, if you have a version number that's lower than 1.4, then you can come up to user preferences and run updater. You should get a pop-up that says update available and just run the update. But if you haven't seen the pop-up and you are at a version lower than 1.4, try running the updater from here. And that will take you to 1.4. Okay. Anything else that's coming up in terms of chats or questions?
Please again, good. I'm not quite sure what that means. That's the same Pakistani doctor. Please again, good. Maybe he wants you to show it again. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Could you
sure.
share it?
Oh, okay, no worries. So I will create another clipboard. We can put anything in there actually. Don't have to there. And then you are going to open your clipboard, and that's your repertorization on the right. The little icon that looks like an abacus, everywhere. You will see it in the repertory module. You'll see it inside a chapter. You'll see it on your clipboard. You can also see it here in global search. And everywhere, these three lines with some dots in them, the abacus, it implies that this is where you can put a filter in. There's many other ways to put filters in, but this is the commonplace throughout the program. So you're going to click here, and you're putting a kingdom or a grouping filter, not a single remedy or a miasm filter. So you're going to stay in kingdom, and you just type whatever filter you want. You're going to type that, click on apply. And here are all the nosodes for, I mean, pretty much everything comes up because I have a huge rubric. So pretty much all the nosodes come up. But that's how you do it. And you can apply these kinds of filters everywhere. So if you come here in the repertory, you have the possibility to do a grouping filter, but also filter by author or remedy or grade. So depending on where you are in the program, your choices to filter by will be different. When you come to global search, you get even more options. If you're filtering rubrics, then you get specific repertories, authors, kingdom, remedy. You can filter by section, and then of course by grade. And if you're filtering your reference library results, then you can filter by specific books, kingdom, remedy, miasm, section, but also category. And category is useful in case you have created a custom category of books. So if there are no questions, I can talk about that.
Magda is just asking, what are the plant nosodes?
I suspect that is the chemotherapeutic remedies, because those are plant stem cells. I don't know. It's the first time I've seen that. Malaria. I don't know. I would have to ask. It's the first time I've seen that category, that filter. And it doesn't apply. And if I just logically think about it, the only thing I can think of are the chemotherapeutic remedies, which are plant stem cells. But I'm not familiar with those remedies to know what should come up if these were in fact chemotherapeutic remedies. So I can find out.
Okay. And Yves wants to know if you could show some of the new features of version 1.4.
Oh dear.
So for example, that or there on your clipboard, Roopali, and the key on the other side of the clipboard there. There too.
Do you want to take over, Maggie?
So if you filter, if you grade.
I know, apply strategy. So you can, filter, if you have underlines, you can filter by those. So if you have graded these, so let's say I put a grade here, and then I'm assuming that I can, really don't know. So what this does is it grays out your other rubrics that you may be less interested in, and it shows you your graph just for that rubric, but you still, this was a request, it was a feature available in MacRepertory, and it was requested by several users of MacRep who are now on Synergy, that even that they wanted to see what it would look like, your repertorization, if you were only interested, if you wanted your rubrics crossed out, but you still wanted to see the repertorization for those crossed out rubrics. Is that right, Maggie?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And then the key is your keynotes. So shoot. It opens your reference library for the remedies that are in your repertorization in order. Is that right? Yeah,
Not
because
in
there's,
order.
yeah, this appears to be more. I know how to do this. So
Is that the first one, Roopali?
no, let's remove this rubric. Okay. And so now, still a lot. Okay. Let's create a different clipboard with smaller remedies in it, the smaller rubrics. So autumn, and I'll put adventurous. Come here. Oh, so I'm just creating a different clipboard with fewer remedies so we can see. And then when you go to keynotes, it should have just the remedies that are on your clipboard. They are not in order, but they are in alphabetical order. But they are still, instead of opening your, when you go here and you say view remedy in reference library, it opens your entire reference library. But yes, on the remedy that you wanted to go to, but it's still your entire reference library. What this does is also an old MacRep feature, which only brings up the remedies that are in your repertorization. And so it's just a more focused view of your reference library, the remedies that you're considering in that moment. So that's one. There were several bug fixes. We also moved some of these filters to a more accessible location. Nozodes was hidden under animal parts, and so nobody could find it. So is there any other major things other than these?
Copy all the remedies in the graph as text to paste into a non-SHS document was another change.
Okay. Here, copy remedies as text. So you could do that. I think these two, the last two options, limit view to remedy and limit view to multiple remedies. This is also something that came from 1.4 or came as part of 1.4. So here you could choose. I mean, I was on China when I did that, but you could pretty much say, oh, I want to study, if we had, let's go to this one. And let's say you wanted to study stramonium or just wanted, if let's say, and this especially is more useful if you had like, let's say 12 rubrics here and you really wanted to see how one remedy fared against all those rubrics, you could do that, say limit view, and then it will just show you stramonium. So you have all that other clutter that's gone. It's all of these are, when you limit a view, it's essentially a filter. So to get rid of it, you would go back and do that. The other cool thing that comes is also to limit view to multiple remedies. And this comes, let's say nothing has changed in the patient's picture. It's still the same essential repertorization, but now it's 4 months down the road and you have tried 4 of the 10 remedies that came up. You don't want them. You only want to consider, 4 of these remedies that seem more appropriate now. So then you just, on any remedy, you can bring up this menu with a control click or a right click and go limit view to multiple remedies. And in this pop-up, actually, the remedies are in order as they are in your repertorization. So you can see it's Merck, tuberculinum, stramonium, and here too. Because generally we are going to consider the left-hand side remedies, the higher up remedies, unless you're essentially searching for a smaller remedy, you're not going all the way down. So this is actually in order, and then you can say, I just want to consider stramonium and betis and veratrum. And then what it will do is it will limit it to any and as many remedies as you want out of that repertorization. Then you can look at, betis is not really a mania remedy, but yeah, let's say you wanted to think about this, and so you can limit it to the ones you're really interested in and get rid of all the others. So that's one. I think those were the 2 additional things we did over here. Yeah. And then copy remedies. I've never done that, but let's try. Okay, so it says copied remedies to clipboard. And then let me move this out. I can open this. And let me do paste. And you have all your remedies that came up. It's a lot, but yeah. This is also useful for a homework assignment, or even if you want to keep exhaustive notes on your patient and say, want to know all the remedies that came up at that time. Of course, you could save the entire graph to your patient chart, so you would have them. But if you do make notes in a Word document or another location, then yes, it would do that for you. So those were, it feels like it's been a while now, but Maggie, do you remember other things that we might have done in 1.4?
If you go into one of the chapters in the repertory, there's an ascending and descending button. If you open the head chapter, for example.
Oh, and this button is new too.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, and
one.
you can also go backwards and forwards on your history, right? So you can choose, if you don't want alphabetical order, then you can choose ascending or descending order of remedies. So like, the biggest rubrics down or the smallest rubrics first. So you could do that.
I think it's probably more applicable, Roopali, isn't it? If you filter that chapter, say, for a particular remedy, and then you want to look at what are the rubrics.
That, or, I guess, yeah, I guess you could do, you can see the biggest rubrics in that remedy, or even in that chapter, I can see why. There might be some, there be useful. The only thing is that a lot of the rubrics that have sub-rubrics, or a lot of rubrics that have no remedies but have cross references will show up at the top. And so I don't know if that's useful. But I think if you are also, this can be useful if you are studying the repertory and, you know, looking at some of the biggest rubrics in the repertory for testing. I mean, I think it's useful for studying purposes. But yeah, probably much more applicable for a single remedy or a group of remedies. So we've got the head. Can try it, see what comes up. You can look at some of the biggest rubrics, head-related rubrics, for example, for a kingdom or a grouping. So I think there can be different uses. I think most of the functionality that was added to the program in 1.4 came from specific gaps vis-a-vis MacRepertory that groups of users had asked for, to say, we use this functionality and we would like it. So we brought it back into the program. I mean, not brought it back, we added it to the program. Then I'm gonna remove the filter. And I'm going to go back to note remedies. And then you can also go forwards and backwards on the history. I guess I don't have enough history, but if I was working for a long time, you can see some of the rubrics that I added. Any other features that I'm missing?
Not that I can think of at the moment. There is a question here in terms of the chart, just going back to the graph.
Yeah.
If you have a number of rubrics in the graph and you just want to look at one rubric and see what remedies are in that, what would be the best way to do that?
I think the best way to do that, wait, let's get rid of this. Okay, so I don't know. I think the fastest way that I can think of would be to just, you know, drag that rubric into a different clipboard. For me, that I think that's what I would do, is I would just drag it here and I would just look at that one rubric. And that way it doesn't disturb your clipboard. I mean, assuming it's just the one rubric. But even if it isn't, I mean, let's say it's two of them, then I would still, you know, I would still just come do, I just did Command C, I would come here, I would do Command V, and I have the two rubrics. I haven't disturbed my original clipboard. That's what I would do. It would be fast. If you want to stay on that clipboard, you would almost have to, I don't know, maybe cross out the rubrics you don't want to see. You could do that temporarily. You could do that. And then you just see the one that you have. Could do that.
Or you could grade them a certain grade.
Or
And
you could, but then, you know, that's not real though. Like, that's what I
Yeah.
thought, because I already had mine abrupt at a second grade. But it's, you're elevating the grade, but you don't really want to do, that's not true in the case. So it would be a false way of looking at it. You're elevating the remedies in that rubric when that's not true in the case. So I don't know. To me, it's, yeah, that would.
Sorry, Magda is just asking, how did you cross out there? Can you just show that again?
Yeah, sure. So the quick way to cross out is to just use the minus sign on your keyboard. All the numbers on your keyboard. So 1, 2, 3, 4. are the grading numbers, and then 0 is the one to bring it back to neutral, and the minus is the one to cross it out. That's the quick way through the keyboard, but you can also just do a right click or a control click, bring up this, and then where it says grade, you would come here and click on -1, and you see it crosses it out. So that's a little, if you're just a trackpad or a mouse person, you don't want to lift your hand from there, then you can use the menus. I find the keyboard is faster sometimes with navigation. So I'm just highlighting this and I'm pressing the minus key and it just does it. And then to remove it, I just press 0. So I highlight it again, I press 0 and it goes back. So that's the quick way to do that. Okay. Any other questions, Maggie?
I'm just thinking while you're there, do you want to show elimination, like dragging one of those small rubrics into the plus sign?
Yeah, we can do that. Let's say, I'll take autumn out because that doesn't really make sense. Let's say that, that represents the chief characteristics of your patient, and they have those qualities. But the one thing that you do know is that they're really adventurous. So any remedy that you want to give or want to prescribe, assuming whatever physical pathology, you absolutely want to make sure that the remedy that they get is a remedy that has a desire for adventure in it. So there's a couple of different ways, but you can obviously elevate the grade of this rubric and say, put that at a 4, and then that will, make sure that those remedies are more important. But the cleaner way to do that would be to take all your rubrics, push and then eliminate the entire. So you come here. So I basically put them into this plus sign. And now these are all the remedies or rubrics that signify your case and your patient, but you're saying every single remedy that I want to consider in my consideration set needs to be an adventurous remedy. So you would cross the remedies in this group of rubrics with the 15 remedies that are considered adventurous remedies in the CR24. So I would shift this to a minus sign. So this is your pool now. The 2 pluses is your pool, the 148 and the 111. And you're going to cross them with just these 15. So you see, you had a total pool of 222 remedies. And after eliminating everything but the 15 that you want to consider, the overlap came to 7 remedies. There are only 7 remedies that are in this pool, but are also adventurous. Now you can say show graph. And so now you're only looking at the remedies that have this one characteristic that is absolutely important. And it doesn't have to be one. Let's say you had 10 rubrics here, and you absolutely needed 2 of those qualities to be in the remedy that you prescribe. And those are absolutely essential. Elimination allows you to create a pool of remedies, everything that you're considering, and then basically eliminate everything except the ones that have those 1 or 2 qualities that you absolutely want in your prescription. So
Sorry, Karen is saying, how did you shift to minus, or how did you change that plus to minus, I think?
You see, you just click on it. If I click on it, it changes to a plus. So now my pool is 230, which means given whatever overlap of remedies that might be in these 3 rubrics, the total number of remedies that comes out is 230. But now I want to eliminate. Generally, you will want to eliminate with a smaller rubric and you cross it with a larger rubric. So you come out with a small pool of remedies. It wouldn't make sense for me to make the first rubric here abrupt minus, because that's the largest rubric. We can do it, but in any case, that's the largest rubric. If you can, so let's try it. So you say, okay, my patient can be abstracted and they're adventurous, but they absolutely are abrupt in their way of thinking and way of talking. And so we do that. The rubric that you're going to make, the elimination rubric, will always pop to the bottom. And so your pool with abstraction and adventurous is actually 119. You're crossing it with 148 remedies. You can do it. And when you eliminate, then you're going to get a pool of 37 remedies. So these are the remedies that you get from this combined pool of abrupt and distracted at this, no, distracted and adventurous, but then abrupt. So these are all abrupt remedies. And you can see that only the first 5 actually are in all 3. But they may, remember, this is now a pool. That means every single remedy here is not going to have that, because that you could just get from your repertorization. But every single remedy here will be abrupt. So it may have one or the other quality, but it will definitely be abrupt.
And Rupali, if you wanted to see all of those 37 remedies in one glance there on your screen, can you hide your clipboard so we can see the whole graph?
Yes, we can do that. If you have a manageable number of remedies and you've satisfied with your clipboard, then yes, you can hide it. And so then you can just focus on the graph and see all of them.
By using that toggle on and off.
Yes, you can. And it's this little chevron here. You can toggle this on and off. Some people don't like to see the graph being built while they're building their clipboard. So you can definitely do that as well. Just get rid of the graph and just look at your rubrics. When you're happy with your rubrics, then they toggle it and then they can see what the graph looks like. You might have noticed, but I've done that also on my repertory module. I only have the one repertory that I'm using, and I've hidden everything else by using this toggle button. If I do that, then it shows. If I want to switch repertories, I can do that and come back here and then choose a new repertory and then go back. And it just gives me a little bit more room on my space here on the machine. I don't need to see all those other repertories. Don't often use, you also have it here in the reference library. I don't often use it because I'm moving back and forth between remedies or books. And so I don't often use it, but if I am reading something that's long, or if I'm studying, then I might do that, you know. Here, and you know, just, and then all you have is the book. You're not seeing anything. You could do that here. So there's that toggle button is in most windows where you can toggle.
So while you're there in the reference library, Anya wants to know if she's looking at a remedy and she only wants to see sources from books that are not repertories. Is there a way to do that?
Sources from books that are not repertories.
Yes.
Okay, so you want, but you're going to be in the remedy screen or in the book screen?
Well, actually, she's actually in the graph and
I
she's
see.
pressing on the graph to say see remedy in the reference library.
Yeah.
But she's saying all the repertory symptoms come up as well. I think she means all the repertory books come up as well. If I only want to see sources from books that are not repertories, is there a way to do that? So she wants to.
Repertories, no, repertories don't come up in the in the reference library, reverse repertories do come up. Yes. So then you can actually set a filter here and you can say, you know, look, so that these are categories of books. You can create your own custom category, which is what I was showing you earlier over here, this custom category. That's what this refers to, is categories of books. So you can set this filter and say, show me, and you can create this as a permanent filter if you like. But if you're just using it temporarily, coming from the graph, you don't want repertory additions, you don't want the reverse repertory, and I suspect probably, unless you're a vet, you don't want veterinary, so say okay. And so those are all your references now. And those are my pinned references at the top. And so let's see, I should not, so synoptic 1, 2, and soul. So I know that, okay, so let's do this. View remedy in reference library. And I thought I did, took me to a different, maybe.
I think it gives you the appropriate one in the main window there, but not on the panel.
No, because I thought I chose carcinosin.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if it doesn't perform correctly if there's a filter on the window. No, it does. So you can see that it took me to carcinosin, and it's only showing me the two books that I have pinned at the top. I also have reverse repertories pinned at the top, but it's not coming up. And then you can go down, and these are all, there are no reverse repertories coming up or repertory additions. So now we're actually out of carcinosin. So Witchman's natural relations here. And there are no, so it should, yeah, it works.
Mhm.
So you can set the filter up. You can even create a custom filter so you don't have to do it each time. And the way to do that, oops, go here, you go to books, you come here, you can go to create, and then you can create a name, say all books except reps. Okay. And then you can select all the books that you want in that custom filter or custom category. And it will save it as that category forever. So when you come here, so I'm just going to put some books in there. And so when you do that, you can come here and you can go all the way, and you now have your custom filter over here. I can just select that and say, okay, and now it's just these books. So when you come here, let me try this again. Say view remedy in reference library. So little, did not take me to carcinosin this time. It seems to be a bit erratic. We should report this. It did take me to carcinosin, and it only shows me the 2 books out of my filter. So maybe my hand is slipping. So it did it 2 out of 4 times. Yeah. Okay, 3 out of 5. So that's how you would do that.
Sorry, Rupali, before you leave that, Anya is just saying, what was the first step again to create a category? Could you just show that
The
again?
first step, the absolute first step after coming into the reference library is to go to the books section and then click on this and click on create. And then you can create a name for that category. My favorite Materia Medica. Let's say there are books that you know, just make sure that you have enough books in a if you do create a category like that, make sure there's enough books, because not every book has a write-up on every remedy. So you want to put enough books in there. Let's put Alan. And then you can decide, but let's say save. And then you come back in here. And I now have all books except rep. You can create multiple categories. So my favorite Materia Medica, all Vermeulen books, or all classical Materia Medica. And then you can put Allen and Boricki and Fatak in there. Whatever, like, you know, whatever books you like to work with. You can, especially if you have a larger library, that's a good category to create and then keep, because it just gets rid of all the other stuff.
Okay, that's all the questions answered.
Okay, good. And we're almost at time. So thank you for all your questions. I hope it was helpful. And next month, Lucy will be doing the training. If you have any questions in the meantime, please do email them to us so we have them ahead of time. And it was a pleasure being with you today. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next month.